My partner and I moved our family to Hamden in 2008. We chose Hamden because it was halfway between our jobs, it had a diverse population, and relatively good schools. We thought Hamden would be a good place to raise our children, so we bought a house and settled in. But after living in Hamden just a little while, I realized that yes, Black and brown people lived in Hamden, but Hamden was run like a whites-only club. This is a story about regular people running for office and using the power of the ballot to build a beloved community.
We all went to the inauguration. I've never been to anything like that before, ever. Senator Blumenthal, you had all the state reps, all the state senators. We had Lieutenant Governor Susan Bicewicz there to do the swearing in. You had like the Connecticut Democratic brass here to come and acknowledge this changing of the guard. Because that's really what it was. It was more of like a regime change, because we changed not just people, but we changed the culture of politics in our town.
When my mom wasn't mayor, we did protests.
When you go to these protests, do you understand what's going on?
Yes. It's like trying to hold the cops accountable for doing what they're doing and what they're doing wrong.
Justice for Paul! Justice for Stephanie! Justice for Paul! Justice for Stephanie! Justice for Paul! Justice for Stephanie!
Terminate the officer right now. That's what we want. That's what we're here for. He has no reason to be getting paid vacation. Your commission could have suspended this officer for 10 days on pay.
In April 2019, Devin Eaton was a Hamden police officer who crossed over Hamden and New Haven lines in a call for a robbery. The victim was Paul Witherspoon and Stephanie Washington.
They were unarmed. They had not committed any crime. They were listening to love songs.
The initial statement that came out was, he exited the car abruptly. Then the next day, the surveillance video on the building next to the incident came out, and then we really saw what happened.
The reports say that it looked like the driver was armed and was waving around something. Absolutely not the case. One of the officers started shooting.
So the kid just jumped back in the car, closed the door, and you could just see the police officer running around the car and shooting. As he was running away, shooting backwards, completely violated all the protocols.
The officers acted like they were in a war zone. I believe the term friendly fire was used. We should not be using war terms to describe something that happened on Argyle Street in New Haven.
There's one part to have the incident happen, but to misrepresent it, is the bigger problem. That's the problem with policing.
Fire officer! Fire officer! Fire officer! Fire officer!
Hamden Action Now was created about 3 days after that happened. I actually put together the Facebook page to organize the community around protesting.
I was on the legislative council at the time, and the former mayor wouldn't allow the protest, the trauma, to come to him. So we opened up our doors so that they could voice their concerns.
It's unacceptable that the Hamden Police Department waited over a week to even say that they would do an internal investigation.
Hamden Action Now was a Facebook page just to organize the community. Then it turned into sort of a movement dealing with equity issues around the Black and brown and Indigenous community here in Hamden. In our school system, it has been reported year over year that the Black, brown, and the kids with disabilities are disciplined at 5 times the rate of their white counterpart. That's a problem. And it's the same issue. It's the issues of the police that are reacting to Black people and brown people in our community differently than they do the white residents. We got the state of Connecticut to file criminal charges against Devin Eaton. That's unprecedented because no one died. That is another narrative that's being told, that police officers shouldn't be brought up on charges unless whoever the victim is dead. Well, that's really not equitable.
When the shooting first happened, the response was constantly, well, we don't have the power to do anything. That's not my job. The mayor would say it's the police commission's job. The police commission would say it's the chief's job. The chief would say it's the union contract. Where does the power actually lie?
The first unofficial police in America were slave patrols who were hired by slave masters to track down and capture those courageous enslaved Africans who dared to run away. The main goal of these first American police officers was to racially profile Black folks. They were trained to see Black people as chattel owned by their masters with no rights and no right to be free. They were trained to criminalize and vilify Black people. They were trained to violently attack Black bodies. Those slave patrols became what we know today as the Blue Shield, hired to protect and to serve.
It's not bad. So that started up out of scratch, and I'm still working on that. Yeah, which was like a block of wood that I started off with.
Her eyes are like, stay back, you better not. Like she's protecting her children. I don't have a super process. I have a way of expressing myself. I guess that's the way of saying it. I go with the flow, yes.